If you grew up loving Celebrity Deathmatch like I did, then this probably sounds like something you've always been hoping for. Exclusive fights that you never got to see as they were only aired in Germany. If you lived there, then you know about this, and possibly you got to see them for yourself. But if not, then take a seat and watch as your hopes come crashing down hard. This is Celebrity Deathmatch Hits Germany. For some reason, around the time that the original series was airing, Germany got its own exclusive Celebrity Deathmatch show, which would feature celebrities from that country alone. That sounds like a good premise, but as awesome as it may sound, to my regret, they aren't as good as the fights presented in the original Celebrity Deathmatch show. In fact, they aren't good at all. Just like with the seasons 5 and 6 of CDM, the fights are poorly executed, but most importantly, they end incredibly fast. One thing I can't say is if the dialogue is any good because I don't understand what they're saying, and the footage I found does not have any subtitles. But when they end in a very short amount of time, I don't think they're even throwing insults about their opponent's career, which works well in the original series, since most of the time the delivery of the insult becomes an attack. I also have no idea who any of these celebrities are, including the host. He doesn't show up in the original series, and his name isn't shown, which is dumb considering that the original series always showed Nick and Johnny's full name at the start of an episode. But let's look at the full fight of two of these celebrities. Anke Engelk versus Sabrina Settler. I'm sure I got the names pronounced wrong, but this will give you a good example of what I'm talking about. Actually, it's more like every fight presented here, and as I mentioned earlier, I have no idea who either of them are, so I had to look them up just to see if their background had anything to do with the delivery of this fight. I'm sure you're probably wondering, are they adult entertainers? Supermodels? Nope. Anke is a German comedy actress, and Sabrina is a German rapper. So why is this a mud wrestling contest? Would you have immediately thought to yourself, mud wrestling? It's gotta be an actress versus a German rapper. Of course not. The person who came up with the premise to this fight must have had no idea as to what these two celebrities do for a living. He found them both to be attractive and said, there you go, that's what the fight is going to be about, mud wrestling. Even the conclusion of the fight is bizarrely weird. What is going on? Why are multiple jugs appearing all over this kiddie pool? Seriously, who was in charge of this fight? It was a 14-year-old, wasn't it? Or someone on shrooms. Let's move on to the next fight.
Hier sind Harald Schmidt und Stefan Raab. Nummer 10. Stühlen der junge Herausforderer, aber mit einem unbekümmerten Schwung. Das ist eine...
Da sagen wir doch... Die Schlusspointe!
Danke, Harald! Tolle Leistung! Halten Sie uns die Treue!
So, would you have guessed that this guy getting his balls crushed would be the best thing that happened to him, seeing as it got his opponent eliminated? Wait a minute, how did he survive? The guy kicked him in his balls so hard that his brain popped out of his skull. That's one hell of a finishing move. Nicky Jr. and Albert Einstein survived without their brain inside their head, so you could say that it's possible for this guy to still be alive, but doesn't this look like the brain was crushed upon impact? Also, why is the brain way bigger than his head? Look at this. The brain is twice as big as his head, and it's heavy enough to crush his opponent's head? Who wrote this fight? This one surprisingly starts off looking good, but that ends with the close-ups as this happens next.
Sicher kein spektakulärer Kampf, aber ist das natürlich eine hochinteressante Partie.
Hey, Stefan, das war's nicht deine Süße. Frag mich mal.
Ein Kampf, der sportlich Maßstäbe setzt.
What the hell was that? Why did the fight start off by looking like a Mexican standoff? It would have made sense if they each performed a quick strike with their sports ball. I mean, that is what it looked like it was building up to. And why did the announcer suddenly get hungry and eat a banana after that fight? But most importantly, why this ending? What the hell's going on?
What the hell is going on?
This one creeps me out. Their movements look very freakish. The lighting gives off a dark and ominous look. It's like something you'd see if you had a nightmare of Celebrity Deathmatch. Once again, the ending is just as agonizing as the rest of the fights we've seen so far. Also, the winner ends up living after looking like this.
Ihr seht, Leute, wenn die Gewaltscheiße führt.
There's a lot of sports-related celebrities in this series, but I gotta say, this is the only one that isn't as bad as the rest. However, it ends just as absurd as the rest.
Wiedermann sein Fahrzeug beherrscht. Immer am Limit, aber fehlerfrei. Jetzt kommt er zum Boxenstopp rein.
Regenreifen.
Das dürfte die Entscheidung gewesen sein.
Zu vermeiden.
Campino scheint es erwischt zu haben. War ja auch nicht Arzt im Ring haben. Alles bringt nichts, Bela. Das war keine Wertung. Verdammt nochmal, es muss doch noch... Hör mal auf mit der Scheiße, Fortuna. Hat nicht sollen sein.
Honestly, what do you say to this? So many questions, but not for another time.
Meine Zivilcourage müsste deutlich über 80% liegen.
This is a nice shot here, but how obvious is it that they got something very wrong? Shouldn't the announcer's booth be facing the arena? Actually, isn't that the announcer's booth over there? There are two? And he's using the one facing the opposite side?
Richtig, los hier!
Okay, this one's actually pretty good so far. What? He swallowed coins and suddenly turned into this giant mutated octopus? What is even happening? The moment you find a shred of hope for at least one good fight, they end it this way. Also, why is it that every time a celebrity is beating his or her opponent throughout the match, they always suddenly lose at the very end? It's another thing that really happened with seasons 5 and 6, almost all the time, which was one of the reasons why the series sucked. Just one of many reasons. But I've had enough of this mess. That's Celebrity Deathmatch Hits Germany for ya. I really wish these fights weren't terrible because the claymation looks spot on to the original series. I have no clue if Eric Fogel himself worked on this series as well. It hurts to see such quality material being utilized in a very weird and deplorable manner. It's some of the most wasted potential that I've ever seen. As you can see, the way they fight in CDM Hits Germany is very similar to how they fight in the new Celebrity Deathmatch, which again is the seasons 5 and 6. They're very amateur, they make the celebrities way too dumb, and most of the time the conclusion of the fights are far too idiotic to be satisfied with the results. The crazy thing is that I always thought that seasons 5 and 6 were the worst, but Celebrity Deathmatch Hits Germany is unbelievably awful. Even with that original Eric Fogel claymation. It just goes to show you that even if the claymation looks just as good as the original CDM, it's not enough to make the series worth watching. That is the only one good positive thing about this unknown series, but it's still like polishing a turd in this case. I guess it's a good thing that these fights are so short. Heck, at one point there were a few Celebrity Deathmatch commercials that aired when the show was at its prime, and these commercials are the length of each fight presented in CDM Hits Germany.
Nike Shox presents Athlete Armageddon. Tonight, Vince Carter faces 3 mime artists with a time bomb. 10 seconds on the clock, the mimes have the bomb. They're playing him like a cheap harmonica.
Use the dunk, Vince.
He has an explosive first step. Who's your daddy? That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Seeing as Germany got their own CDM fights, Does that mean that if the show became really popular and it wasn't this bad, would they have made separate exclusive Celebrity Deathmatch shows for other countries? I know that's a very far-fetched speculation, but it surprises me to see that the execution was made with Celebrity Deathmatch Hits Germany, and I would have loved to see what every other country version could come up with. I'd like to see what Mexico's version would be including, as I'm sure that they'd all have their own writers, meaning they couldn't possibly be as bad as CDM Hits Germany, right? It's too bad this exclusive series turned out terrible. It didn't help bring in a wider audience. If anything, those in Germany must have thought that the entire series was this bad. And we all know that the series did not get better after being brought back with seasons 5 and 6. I'll talk about those in a separate video to really dissect what went wrong with those ones, as I have a lot to say about them since I was really excited to see the series come back, just to butcher everything the show was about, including its main characters. So with that said, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button to give this video a chance to grow. I'd like to thank all my Patreon supporters for their impeccable generosity. Your support means a lot to me, and you are part of the reason why I try to make the best content that I can. And if you like this content, check out the rest of my channel. You'll find more entertainment from separate franchises I like to cover, such as Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Z, Celebrity Deathmatch, Men in Black, The Mask, Batman comics, The Terminator, TMNT, Dino Crises, Resident Evil, and more. If you're a Patreon supporter, check out my exclusive videos such as the Gantz content. And if you'd like to show your support, go to my Patreon and support the channel, which is only $1. Sacrifice that McChicken for extra quality content, my friend. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.